Hello. Welcome to our fourth episode, Travis. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Hello. This is Scott Tolman with the Scott Tolman team, and I'm here at Wonder Tree Studios. And I will be your host today, Scott Tolman, and my co-host is Travis Tolman. And we have a very special guest today join us, Sammy Morris. Welcome, Sammy.
How you doing? Thanks to be here.
Man, we're doing good. We're doing real good. How's your summer going so far?
Been going good so far. Pretty low key.
Yeah.
Made a trip to Dallas and probably make a couple trips to San Antonio coming up, and just kind of relaxing with the family.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Summers go by fast.
Yeah.
As an athlete, as a coach, as a student, everything. It goes by so fast nowadays.
Try to take time.
Yeah. Well, so we're very fortunate that Sammy's here. Sammy played football here at Tech. It was 96?
95 to 99.
95 through 99. Then he was fortunate enough to move on to the next level, man. Opportunity to play in the NFL. You played with how many teams?
4 teams total.
4 teams. And he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, 2000, right?
Yep, 2000.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. And if you don't mind, what we're going to do is I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about your story. And then, of course, this is a real estate show, kind of.
Right.
Kind of. But when I get a chance to talk with someone about football, that's what we usually end up talking about.
I'm with it.
So we'll come back, talk a little real estate. Then I'd like to talk about your new role at Texas Tech, which I think is unbelievable role.
Right.
But, man, if you tell us a little bit about how you got started, even back when you were a kid, I don't know, in San Antonio, if y'all started when you were 6, when you were 8, when you were junior high, when did y'all start?
So we moved to San Antonio when I was in the 2nd grade by way of Oxford, England. And that was, as we said earlier, my dad was in the Air Force, and I was actually born in Oxford, England. Then my brother was born in Arizona. Literally the next year, we're actually the same age for 6 days, which is kind of weird. Irish twins. And then moved right back to England, and we stayed there until I was in the 2nd grade. And then we were done with the move, and thankfully done with the moving after that. Stayed in San Antonio. My dad ended up retiring in the Air Force, and went down to play high school football at John Jay, the Mustangs out there. Yes, sir.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you were quite the star. I mean, in high school, I remember hearing that you were a quarterback and a receiver, and of course, special teams, defense, everything.
Yeah.
You did it all.
Well, so Coach Larry Pullen, I guess, would be the architect, so to speak, of that. But so I had played running back, and then as you know how it is in high school, you just got to play where the coach asks you, or play what's best for the team.
Yeah.
And for us that year was playing quarterback, and I was opposed to it at first, just because I knew I could throw the ball, but I didn't see myself as a quarterback. I played baseball. I was a center fielder, so I could throw it, but that's different than being a quarterback.
Yeah.
But we were kind of doing an offense similar to how Charlie Ward was doing it back in Florida State, where he was kind of he was a running quarterback basically.
Right.
And I couldn't throw like Charlie Ward, but I ended up rushing for 1,500 yards and then rushing for 1,100 as a quarterback / running back, whatever. And and like I said, played a little bit of defense too. And again, it was one of those things that I was definitely thankful for, just because I was as I said, I was opposed to it at first, but Coach Pullen was very adamant that it would help me in recruiting, in terms of making yourself more marketable and all that good stuff, and ended up working out that way.
Yeah. So Travis is my oldest son, and then I have another son, Ryder, who's 14. He's going through the same thing that you're going through. His coach wants him to play quarterback so bad.
Yeah.
He wants to be receiver, and so anyway, we're going to work that out. But
So you said you played baseball as well. Was there a point where you had to decide which one, or did it always lean towards football?
Well, and so I always knew that football was my first love, and I was playing Little League baseball, and then as soon as I got to high school, I stopped, and then just because like I said, it was fun, and I was pretty good at it. I just wasn't my first love.
Right.
And then so when I got to high school, a lot of the guys I played Little League with were now in high school, and they were telling my coach, who was also one of my football coaches, he was like, "Hey, you should tell Sammy to come play. He's pretty decent, whatever." And so he tried for 2 years, and then in each year I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good." And then I played my junior year, and actually ended up getting some major league looks.
Okay.
Which was kind of crazy. I mean, overall, like I had an opportunity to join the Braves organization, but something happened to where at the time with UIL rules, I would have been ineligible for my senior year of football. So I just played my last year of baseball, and that was it.
Okay.
My senior year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you chose football.
Yeah. Same.
I bet
Same
you are
here.
too.
All right. Same here.
Yeah. Well, fast forward a little bit. Well, first of all, though, you were the MVP, right, in San Antonio, like of the whole San Antonio,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Offensive MVP. Yeah.
Man, that's amazing.
It's funny. So I don't know if you remember Stan Bonowitz.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So he was the basketball MVP
Yeah.
of San Antonio. So it was funny, and we both came here the same year.
Same school? Did he go to same
He went
school?
to East Central.
Oh,
Yeah. So
man,
it was a little.
he could shoot. Boy.
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy. Love watching him shoot.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. And so opportunities from colleges all over the place, or
Yeah, I mean, some. Well, and as we said, get more looks. Like some wanted me to play quarterback, like to be an option quarterback, and I just, again, I wasn't really hearing that. Some wanted me to play safety, wasn't really hearing that. So the ones that are for running back were, I mean, there was a lot of good schools, and it's not like how it is now, where we had a camp for kids the other day, and one of the kids asked me, like, how many offers did you get when you were coming out? And I was like, well, it wasn't really like that when
Right.
I was coming out. You got a bunch of letters, people came to your school, but out of the schools, Tech was the first place I visited, and I actually didn't visit there until December of my senior year, like after my season already finished.
Okay.
yeah,
Which again, that's how it was, back in the day.
yeah,
So yeah, I visited Tech, and then ended up going into Mexico as well, and then canceling SMU, and I just stopped my recruiting from there.
yeah. That's good.
Yep.
So tell us about your freshman year, and tell us your story a little bit about how it
Yeah.
all went down.
Yeah, yeah. So it was,
Which
Yeah,
it's
how
an
much time we
awesome
got?
story, man. I know, right? And that's what I was telling Trav when I'm talking football with people. Man, we could sit here all day. But I mean, your story is one that needs to be shared with a lot of people. I mean, especially these kids coming out right now, which we'll talk about your role here in a minute. But go ahead and tell us a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so I got to Tech in the fall of '95, and I ended up redshirting. It wasn't like how before where you could do the early enrollees, how we have guys that's coming in January, and definitely would have helped me to be able to do that.
Right.
So I redshirted that first year, and will suffice to say that football was my major my first year. Football and hanging out was my my major that first, as it is for a lot of kids.
Yes, it was for me as well.
Right. So after. And that was for pretty much that initial fall and the following spring was basically, I mean, I redshirted, so in my mind, I guess in the back of my mind, it was, I'm not playing games right now. Then, instead of focusing on my studies and trying to get that right, it was, I'm just going to hang out until, the wee hours of the night, just doing whatever's anybody was doing at the time. And, so after that first year, had a whopping 0.8, I believe it was my GPA after that first year, and went to a bunch of classes over the summer trying to get eligible. I guess I'll come back to that. We thought I did get eligible after that first year, and so I was, after that first redshirt year, I was, playing in games, and I was happy, and I was, again, I was, playing as a redshirt freshman, and we're, going all these different places, and first game was Kansas State. Tech's first game in the Big 12 history. Yeah. So it was like I said, it was in, just me coming in, it was, and I was doing well. And, of course, Byron was there, and he was tearing up the yardage. And, it was a good year until, about, it was week 8, I believe we had actually, so I'll back up, say that the pinnacle of all that I was doing there was the catch against A&M.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
So it was the first time we beat A&M down there. I guess since in the 8, I forget I think it was 84, 86, something like that.
94. I mean,
that first time we had beat them.
Oh, yes,
in College Station.
Yeah, I had a buddy done that and said he did not like you because of that.
Yeah. Right.
What play was this?
It was an 81-yard touchdown from Zebby Lethbridge in the fourth quarter. To beat, we went up 13. I think, so we were down 10-6, and we ended up going 13-10.
Okay,
and we ended up winning that game.
That's huge.
So it was, like I can see it and feel it like I can still hear the crowd like it was yesterday. And
You sound like Scott.
Yeah.
all right.
You'll probably hear a Deion Sanders story soon.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We've done that the last 2 weeks. I won't do it again.
All right, and and again, it is one of those things. It's kind of it's a memory, and a lot of people talk about is that I've heard from both sides talk about where they were at that time, and stuff like that. So it's just crazy to think about now that at the time I knew we had beat A&M, but it didn't I wasn't able to fathom the depths of what we did. But yeah, so following literally the next week. Coach Maskey, my running back coach, came in and told me or stopped me in between in the hallways. It was like, hey Sammy, did you miss that? It was a class that I was taking at the time that was for people with bad GPAs and bad study skills and all that other stuff. And the rule in that class was that two absences and you are withdrawn from the university. And I tell coach as soon as he told me, I said immediately, I was like, well, yeah, I missed one day, but that's all I've missed. And he's like, well, they're threatening to kick you out of the university. And I was just like, what's going on? So after a little bit of digging, I found out that 2 tardies counts as absence.
Oh man.
And I might have had, 100 tardies. Who knows? Who knows? So and I told coach, I was like, I honestly did not know that. But so we kept trying to appeal it. They never, they just denied it. And so I was forced. So I got kicked out of the school, lost all my credits that semester, 8 games into the season. So another long story short, but 2 weeks later, I was ended up getting arrested with a buddy of mine for just stealing, doing stupid stuff. And, a lot of that's due to the mental place I was at. And, again, not trying to, use it as a crutch or whatever, but that's, kind of where I was at the time. And, so that was it was a rough couple of weeks there just because I was at the pinnacle of my short, college career.
Right.
And now I'm like, in the back of a cop car and I'm just like, kind of like, what is going on? So that was, again, that was a really tough semester on me. And then, fast forward to that next January, that next fall or spring winter semester, and the NCAA or Tech was saying, that I had to make, another 2.0, 2.5 or something like that to get eligible, as well as all the credits that I lost from that previous semester. So, I took a bunch of class. I think I was in 19 hours at that semester. Ended up doing like some other some mini master courses, all these different things, trying to get eligible. Yeah, I didn't do it. So now the fall of '97, I'm suspended again. Just after a terrible spring semester. So I go back to San Antonio, and like I said, that was a really low part as well too. Just because I just remember I always tell people I was working at SeaWorld of San Antonio was my high school job, and and a couple years of college. So I went back to Ski Side Cafe was the name of the place I was working, and I remember one night I was and we sold chicken there, and I was getting ready I was dropping the chicken and I getting ready to set the timer, and I asked my buddy, I said I was like, hey, what time is it? And he was like, whatever, I forgot what time he said. And I was just like, all right. So I set the timer, and I was just like, oh man, like Texas Tech is getting ready to play University of Tennessee in front of 110,000. I'm like here, I got flour all over my shirt. And I'm just like, so it's just another
just hit you
another level of depression there. And so I was taking courses at a community school there in San Antonio, and I couldn't. I think I was only taking like 9 hours. I was trying not to accrue full-time status or whatever. And, which in that sense, it was good just because, I was taking a lighter load and I can kind of focus more on the studies aspect of it. And on the way to class one day, I was doing a presentation. So I was, it was a speech class, and we had a presentation day. I'm pulling up to class, and I get pulled over by a cop. And so I'm like, all right, and it just like literally, the highway's coming in here. I pulled off, and I was getting ready to turn left to the exit to go to the school. But he pulled me over like right here by the exit on the access road. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, all right, and so I'm sitting there, he comes up and he's like, license and registration. He goes back to the car and he was gone way too long. And you guys, well, I don't know if y'all know what that means, but
Yeah. It's not good.
if he's gone for too long, it's definitely not a good sign. So I see people driving by honking at me as they're going to class. Like it's, it's literally like right there at the turn. And then he comes over and he's just like, I need you to step out the vehicle. And I'm like, for what? And then so he ends up explaining that I have a warrant for unpaid speeding tickets. And one of them, which I ended up finding out after the fact, was after I got suspended, I drove down to Oklahoma with one of my buddies, got a ticket out there. We ended up playing Oklahoma down there. And it wasn't even my vehicle. And another long story anyway. So
it just never stopped.
Right. Yeah. No. So he arrested me. So I'm in 2 years, I'm going to jail. Never been before. Now I've been twice in a year.
Yeah.
So I go to class. I'm in the holding tank, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, it's just for speeding tickets. I should be in and out. So in my little holding tank, like I said, I'm dressed, like I'm getting ready to give a presentation. Right. Everybody else is in there is, like, crackheads and like, like people like that are,
criminals,
strung out, whatever. Yeah, whatever. And so I'm just kind of like, wondering what's taking so long, but because they're all getting processed, coming in and out. Another group would come in and go, and I'm sitting there like, so I asked, and there was some kind of holdup because of the processing from Oklahoma, because it was the warrant was from out of state. So they booked me in the county jail for speeding tickets.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and I mean it was I'll spare your viewers, but I'll give my son the full account of what happens when you get when you get you have to do it when you're strip searched. Yeah. So it's you can't just go in and hold you for a little bit then you leave. Like I got booked.
Yeah.
So I mean I was there overnight, but still, like I said, it was just a weird feeling walking down the hallway with handcuffs and carrying my mat in the county oranges. So,
but during this whole time, did you continue to work out and knew that you in your mind that you're going to make it back to Texas Tech? I did. You made it back, and
that next spring in '98 is when I came back and finally got things right and got more serious with my girlfriend at the time and so this time coming back in the spring of '98, Tech was saying that if either make a 2.5 or don't worry about coming back to Tech. And I said I always hold Coach Dykes in a high regard just because I gave him every reason in the book to pull my scholarship, and he didn't. So this was basically my last hurrah, if you will. And but yeah, I mean that that whole semester when I was in San Antonio, like I would work out, but it was kind of like when I could, I mean, like I knew I wanted to get back to Tech and all that, but it was, because I was working and, but, definitely mentally, I was definitely ready to, start grinding and kind of, make things right.
You came back and had one heck of a year.
Yeah. Well, that year, it started to get right. So actually, long story short, I made a 3.0 that semester. After not making anything more than a 1 point something, ended up getting married that August. So now I'm like I said, everything's trending in the right direction, and I'm like, getting ready to play. NCAA comes back and says that the game. Long story short, again, the games that I played in '96 that I shouldn't have played in those because I should have been ineligible. So somewhere along the way, I got misadvised or just didn't. Something happened. And so all those games I played in '96, basically I was ineligible. So they shouldn't have counted. So our academic staff at the time said, well, he only played in 8 games. He should only have to sit out 8 games. And NCAA came back and said, no, that 8 games constitutes a full season. So here I am sitting at 3.0. I'm, doing things in the right order. I'm, studying. I'm living off campus. I'm doing everything right. And they still were threatening to keep me out. And so Spike Dykes was saying, this sucks. There's a whole appeal process. And Spike, of course, as he was, told me that I didn't have to come to practice if I didn't want to, and I was like, "No, hell, no, I'm practicing." Like, yeah. And so I was just like the scout team All American. Like, you know, I know they hated me over there, but you know, I had to do it.
Yeah.
So you actually had to sit out another season?
Yeah. So I played. I mean, I didn't play any games that year, so but I practiced, did everything with the team.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then the next year.
Yeah, my senior year now. Yeah. So my last year was the real last hurrah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and that year you also, I mean, you won the MVP, which is voted on by your teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Then you also had the Donnie Anderson Award, which was a sportsman award that they voted on too.
Go ahead and say it.
I was chosen.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was a Donnie
Nice,
Anderson recipient.
There you go.
Thanks, Travis.
Proud,
I wasn't
yeah.
sure how I was going to sneak that in.
Yeah, there you
You're
go.
welcome.
Proud
All right,
moment.
then you fast forward and draft comes around.
Yep.
Get an opportunity to go to the Buffalo Bills in the 5th round.
Yep. So again, that was crazy. Out of all that, only playing in 17 college games. That was 8 as a redshirt freshman, none as a sophomore, none as a junior, then 9 my senior year.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's very impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's crazy at the same time. It's so those games that year in '98. You know, so Monte Rager and I, we came in the same year, but he didn't redshirt. So he was 98. That was his year. He's getting ready to come out for the draft.
Yeah.
So or leave early, I guess. And so one of the days, the Coach Maskew came and was telling me about there was a Panther scout at practice and said that you know, it was like, hey, you know, we came here to look at Monte, but who's this guy on the scout team?
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, you know, even, you know, in those kind of low, you know, stressful moments, God, you know, was still, you know, kind of had his hand on me, and again, definitely thankful for that. You know, so draft comes around, and out of all that, Mel Kiper had me at like the second rated fullback, which, you know, again, I played some tailback, played some fullback, kind of, you know, bouncing back and forth, and again, after 17 games, like, it's just like, you know, definitely thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
I got drafted by the Bills and went all the way up to you know, Orchard Park, New York for first 4 years of my NFL life.
Yeah, a little cold up
Yeah,
there.
a lot cold. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had a stint with the Bills, and then you went to the Patriots.
Dolphins after that.
Oh, it was the Dolphins after
Yeah.
that? Okay, I got them backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you last season with the Cowboys.
Yeah. So it was coming from Texas, go to the extreme cold in Buffalo, go to the extreme hot in Miami, back to the extreme cold with the Patriots, then back to Texas, Dallas.
Yeah. So in Miami, you had, who else was down there with you? You had
yeah,
Zach
and Wes ended up coming there. I believe that was my second year there, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was you know, of course I was enrolled. I was a true freshman Zach's senior year.
Yeah.
But I had never met Wes, only heard of him.
Yeah.
You know, obviously through his own tech lore against A&M.
Yeah.
But that was a good time for us to you know, all Red Raiders, you know, always from 3 different
A lot
generations.
of us here in Lubbock that was proud of that.
Yeah.
Having 3 of you.
Oh, that was
down
definitely
there.
good times. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So out of the 4 teams, like, team aside, like, what city that you lived in was your favorite?
Oh, I forgot. We got to talk a little bit about real
I'm just
estate.
trying to bring it to
Bring it into
something.
some-
Yeah.
You know, oddly enough, we would probably say New England.
Okay.
Just, you know, again, Buffalo, like I said, it wasn't bad. It just, you know,
Buffalo.
yeah, Buffalo, yeah. I guess, yeah, never mind. And Miami was, like I said, just too fast for us. You know, just wasn't really, my wife and I had not really, you know, doesn't really fit our lifestyle. And then New England, obviously, I mean, it was still cold and all that, but, you know, we liked the area, and,
Okay.
you know, so we ended up staying there after I got done playing.
Okay. Gotcha. And you're in Dallas as well, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so we stayed there, but we were trying to find our way back to Texas. There is that caveat. So we were about to leave right after I got done playing, because I just finished with the Cowboys, but you know, my kids were already older, and we didn't want to pull them right out of school right away. So we let them kind of finish, you know, different milestones. Like the oldest, she finished middle school, or started middle school up there, and we're like, all right, well, we're going to let her finish there. And then the kid there, my other 2 were younger, so we're trying to figure out, you know, a good time to leave.
And they're both at Tech now, right?
Yeah, both my girls are, and my son are
Okay.
at Tech now. Yeah.
Awesome.
His son plays defensive back. I just learned that a while ago.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't know that.
At Tech?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. 6'1". He's So I mean, when he was playing Pop Warner, I had coached. He was like a running back kind of receiver. I mean, he don't really throw the ball, Pop Warner all that much, but um, and then as he started getting to high school, he was more of a receiver, kind of longer, body type, and so he's playing receiver. And then when we moved to Prosper for his senior year, they moved him to DB.
Yeah.
And again, he's kind of like with me, a quarterback. I didn't initially like it, but now he loves it. So
Right.
That's good.
yeah,
I'm glad he's here too, man.
yeah,
Well, I'll tell you, we talking about your new role here at Tech. I think it's probably one of the most important roles on the staff. And I mean, you got all your coaches got their positions that they coach. But what you're able to share with these young men, I mean, coming out of high school, 17, 18 years old, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going on, and you're leaving your family for the first time and your friends and stuff. And you get up here and, 6 months earlier, the coaches are living on you,
Yeah.
then you get up here and by gosh, then it starts happening.
Yeah,
They get on you.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we've really mentioned his new role or his role here at Tech, have
well,
we?
oh, you're exactly right.
yeah.
Well, yeah, tell us exactly what your role is. And I mean, my point was building up to that, but I mean,
Sorry.
well, I mean, because his story is
Right.
what all these kids need to hear. And it's at a perfect timing because what's happening right now is that all these kids are getting paid, and some of them are getting paid more than others. And so the fans, they're not going to give these kids any slack, which is not fair. That part I don't like about it. And these kids are going to have to overcome that. They're overcoming, leaving their families, leaving their friends. They're going to get out there on the football field, might throw an interception or a fumble or miss a tackle, and everyone's going to get onto them. Why are we paying these kids?
Yeah.
That part of it, man, I'm not going to like at all. But it's gonna be hard for these kids to overcome that, and that's where you're going to be able to come in, mentally prepare these guys into actually becoming real men.
Yeah.
And you're going and with your story and the way you handle things and the way you took care of business and got back on it, that's what it's all about. Tell us a little bit.
And it's funny, so it's a assistant director of player development, and it's really like I didn't. So I know it's the title is player development. Coming into I didn't really know what what it all entailed, and but at the same time I knew like that that I had a story. And that's one thing I always tell the guys is that the things that I'm telling you is not something I read in a book or somebody like these are things like that I had to learn the hard way on my own, and I experienced them.
Yeah.
And if I would have known, and that's with Coach Wells and his staff before, that was one of the first things that they had said is what we started it's called the Red Raider Way program, where I just kind of have 4 different meetings. I just basically have a topic, and it starts from what Coach Wells and his staff were saying is that they were said basically it was Coach Wells and Troy Kemp at the time. They said basically anything that you wish you would have known when you were in college. And I was just like, all right, well,
Man, the whole list,
a long
Right,
list.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
So that's really the perspective that I come from whenever I'm trying to think about whatever I'm going to talk about those different sessions. And like I said, there's a bunch of roadblocks, and a lot of it, and ultimately what it comes down to is maturity. I think just whether he's playing football or not, the kid he's at a time where he's growing into a man. There's a lot of hormone, a lot of things going all over the place, and another thing that's with the whole the COVID year, another kind of aspect. There's guys that we have guys that are 17 or 18 years old, but because of the COVID, they're playing with guys that are 24 or 25. Like those, those are men. Like that's
Yeah.
So we got to be able to prepare them physically, which Coach Lance does an awesome job in the weight room with our guys. But there's a mental aspect to me, which is kind of what glues it all together, and obviously nutrition. But we have sports psychologists on staff, and said there's a bunch of different avenues to kind of help the guys become men, and at the same time being college football players.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Grow
do
up to
most like Division I teams now have that department, like a player development?
Yeah. So most teams most schools pretty much they have a player development, but we actually have so we have a player development guy, like he's our head guy, and I'm kind of like an offshoot of that. So I do that. Like I'm also our NFL liaison. So set up the pro days and all that stuff, kind of regarding our older guys that are getting ready for the draft. So I'm kind of like I said, it's like an offshoot of that where I get to do a little bit of everything, and not really tied to one area, so to speak.
Okay.
That's good, man. Like I said, I think that's a very important deal.
Yeah.
Very important. So tell us about the vibe real fast over there, right now at the football stadium. Coach has got everybody fired up, man.
Yeah.
He's got everybody fired up, and I mean he's already won the hearts of a lot of people here in West Texas, and he reminds me a lot of Spike.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he's going to be bringing something to the table that these kids are looking forward to, and they're buying into it, and it's
And the fans.
and the fans. I've seen more season tickets being sold than
Right.
a long time.
Well, you know, and that's one thing that I always tell I tell my wife or tell any of my buddies that are, that I talk to daily. The stuff that you're seeing and hearing, on social media, like there's no like BS to it. Like that's so like when we're in our offices, I mean, that's all you can hear Joey just randomly yelling, "Let's go!" Or you know what I mean? Like it's like that's how it is all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's been awesome to see, and one thing I always say too is, so I was very fortunate to be on the new hiring committee and stuff. So, so I kind of have like the perspective of like, so I've seen like heard the pitch, so to speak, in an interview, and to see, like I said, it's awesome to see for me to see it like come to fruition. I know it's obviously for
real
Coach
deal
McGuire,
he's
he's
talking about.
definitely the real deal. Like so, it's it's definitely all true and it's all real. Excited for this fall.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Very excited.
I think you were going to ask him about his favorite restaurant. Coming from San Antonio, you probably ate some good Mexican food.
Oh yeah, love Mexican food. Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite restaurant now? And then also, like when you were here in college, are any of those restaurants gone that you miss, or are some still here? Like, are your favorite restaurants still here?
So I think from when I was in college, I guess it really have to be Spanky's just because.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wasn't even here long enough, and I guess Black Eyed Peas not even here. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't even know if it's even a thing.
Yeah. I think it's a band still. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It might not. Probably not even that.
Probably not.
But I think now, and I feel bad saying it like that, but it's Alberons or I'm not even sure how to say that.
Milwaukee.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's Albarians or Alberons.
I think
it's Alberons.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite Mexican food out here right now.
It's close enough.
Yeah. As long as I know where it's at.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think we're about to shut this thing down. Is there anything else that you want to share or talk about the upcoming season? Anything at all? I mean, they're looking good out there. I mean, and by the way, man, we came out to y'all's football camps, and y'all did an outstanding job. And there was kids I was talking to other parents, kids from all over the country, which is a very good sign.
Right.
Very good sign.
And I will say that just really, we're really looking forward to the fall, and I think just, everybody just, continue to come out and show support. It's like I said, it's really crazy to see like how we're definitely trending in the right direction, and just to see like the energy in the weight room, to see the way it transfers over to new guys once they've all the couple of transfers that we've had come in. Like I said, it's just awesome to hear those guys kind of they have the same vibe going on. That they'll say like, this is the family I've been looking for and stuff, and just knowing that like it's not just about having good football players. Like those good football players have to be a tight knit family. That's what we always say, like a team is not a bunch of guys in the same uniform running around. And so it's like we're developing the team, and again I just encourage everybody to come out in the fall and throw some tortillas out there.
I'm not supposed to, I don't think. Right. They seem to appear every year.
They do.
It happens.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, we're looking forward to it. And we didn't talk a whole lot about real estate, but hey, if we can fulfill any of your real estate needs, please go to the ScottTomanTeam.com. Get a hold of me and Travis and the rest of my team. And man, we really enjoyed having you here.
Not a problem.
And man, it's a good story, great stuff. And get out there and go win some football games.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, you still look like you could play, dude.
I wish I could.
I see him in the weight room all the time. Like, man, that dude is something else. But thank you once again, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, that concludes our show. And if y'all in 806, we appreciate y'all listening. And please continue to listen. Y'all have a great day.
Take care.